Ice Storm Edition, day 2. We got kind of a mix between snow and sleety, icy stuff. It's really slippery out. It's kind of crusty and slippery. And today it's going to get really cold. It's been cold, but it's going to get down to close to 0 probably. So it's going to be tough conditions, and they're worried about keeping the animals warm. And I'm worried about some of our girls here that are starting to look like they might try to have babies when it's the toughest possible conditions, which is what they often do. Anyway, I was getting up through the night, checking on everybody and keeping the fire going, checking on the remote groups. I took them some extra old hay that they could use for bedding, so hopefully the other remote groups are making nice little nests to cozy up in out there. I'll go check on them in a little while. For now, I'm gonna give these guys some food, and then yeah, it's gonna be a challenging day, I think. So look at her right there. There's Shallot's right in the front with the white on her nose, and then there's another girl, and then back behind her, you can see she's looking pretty wide. I think she might give birth soon. And then Shallot herself is looking pretty big. So anyway, let me give them a snack. You're looking pretty big too. There's a few of these girls that look pretty pregnant to me. Probably Rachel's off work today because of the conditions. So hopefully I can get her down here to look at the girls and see what she thinks. What I might do, actually, might end up just moving some of the girls over to the pasture with the barn, what we call the barn, which is this building, because that's where we put them. Generally, they have babies somewhere, maybe over in the pasture I was just showing you. And we gather them up and we move them over here. And I've got little pens inside there, and we put lots of bedding, and you can close them up to help keep them warm and stuff like that. So I might end up putting them over there. I don't know. But it's supposed to be really cold all week. The coldest I think it's going to get is maybe tonight, where it gets down to maybe 0. And then it kind of slowly, the temperature kind of slowly comes back up. But it's going to be pretty rough for a few days. And like this, I'm assuming this ice that we're seeing out is pretty much going to be sticking around for a while. If it melts at all from the sun, when the sun's shining on it, it's just going to refreeze. And it's going to be like, this is already really slippery. I guarantee you, if I tried to walk down that little hill right there, I guarantee you I would fall 100%. If I didn't have, I would have to have sticks in my hand or something like that. But if I just tried to walk down that hill, I would wipe out. So this is going to be like a bobsled run. Kind of already is, but it's going to get worse. Anyway, let's go check on the guys and check on my water tanks and make sure they're doing okay. And then I'm going to fire up the truck and go check on the remote groups. The one thing that's tough, really tough, with when you use the electric netting, which is what we use with our remote groups, electrified netting, is like what happened yesterday. When you have freezing rain, of course, all that the water coats the netting and it freezes into ice, just like it does to the trees, right? Like it makes the trees really heavy and it bends the branches down. Well, it does the exact same thing to your electric netting. So the electric netting is sagging, falling down, and it's probably completely shorted out, such that if a predator touched it, it probably wouldn't even be shocked, to be honest. So, and you can't fix it at the time. If you try to mess with it, it just makes it worse. And if the ground is really hard and frozen, it's about impossible. If you pull the netting spikes out of the ground, it's just about impossible to get them back in. So you think, oh man, that netting's really sagging. I gotta push that up. And you try to do it, and then everything just gets worse. So that's a real bummer. So I'm worried about them. I'm worried about them out there. I heard coyotes yesterday evening, and I was like, no. Also heard a ton of dogs barking, and there was like squadrons of people out driving around in side-by-sides. Maybe that will be enough to scare the coyotes, and keep them away. It'd be nice. Hopefully the coyotes are finding lots of deer and are staying away from our sheep and goats. Hey guys. Y'all seem to be doing fine. So let me give them a snack. They still have plenty of hay in their rack. I'm gonna give them a snack. That one guy is looking a little skinny to me. I'm gonna check him out. He's looking a little bit on the skinny side. Anyway, we'll be right back. Well, I'm happy with my water tank de-icer so far. I do think there's a little bit of product variability in them, because that tank I just checked that's in this pasture right here was probably 2/3 liquid, which is great. We go down and look at the other one. I think the other one's got more of a snow and ice covering on it. It's an easy to break through snow and ice covering, so that's good. So there may be some power differential between these. I've got them run through an awful lot of extension cord, which you're not supposed to do, but I wasn't sure what choice I had. But anyway, let's go look at that water tank, and then I'm gonna go check on the other groups this morning. Let's see how everything's going there, and then come back and make breakfast for everybody. Daycare, of course, is closed, and Rachel's not going to work today. So really, it's an opportunity to have more attention to what we need to be doing here. So this is what this one looks like. The other one was more liquid than this. This one is like a slurry, but it's not all solid frozen over, which is cool. Let me go bust that up a little bit more. Yeah, okay. I have to bring my shepherd's crook down here and do this. So you want to know my sort of quickie hillbilly engineering process with these things. So of course I didn't think about it until it was kind of late in the game that I needed some way to unfreeze water tanks besides driving around with a tank of hot water in my truck, or running, hoses, a bunch of hoses hooked together to our washing machine hot water tap. All that stuff's a pain. So I ended up getting these. I found these water heaters that you just plug them in. Of course, if the power's out, if you have no electricity, then you're dead there. We have a backup generator, which would be an expensive way to do it, but could be done. But I found a pretty good deal on them. I needed 5, and I was able to get them from an online order from a local big box store instead of Amazon. Amazon couldn't have gotten them here in time, but this big box store already had them. I just had to get them before everyone else bought them all out. So I got them, and then it's hard to find a lot of product information online. And the thing is I get them, and I'm like, great, okay. And it says a few things. One, it says don't use them with the extension cord. I'm like, what am I supposed to do, man? It has a picture of like a tank with it's like you're supposed to plug it directly into a GFI outlet. Like everybody has GFI outlets all over, like right by their water tanks. I'm like, okay, well, I'm breaking rule number 1 there. Rule number 2, which I didn't see in the product information until I got it, take it out of the box. It says not for use with plastic tanks. Well, look at that tank. That's a plastic tank. That's all we have. They're like, recommend only use with metal tanks. Why? Why do they recommend you only use with a metal tank? And the reason is because the heating elements are exposed, right? And if the heating element, it gets hot, obviously. If it's going to melt plastic or possibly catch on fire. Well, if a couple things. So one, like, well, we have a version that will work for plastic tanks, but they were out of stock and they were twice the cost. And all they had was an exposed heating element with a wire basket around it so that the unit couldn't actually have the heating elements touch the side of the water tank. That's all it was. But it's twice as expensive and they're sold out. So what I did was I made some wooden frames out of some scrap 2x4s to put around the units. That's what this is. It's kind of buried in there. You see there's wood around it. So that way, if it drifts over to the side of the tank, it's just touching the wood to the plastic. It's not touching the heating element to the plastic. But wait a minute, Josh, what are you talking about? You just built a wooden frame for a exposed metal heating element? I sure did. I sure did. Do you think that might catch on fire? Yeah, could. It could if that wood dries out. But as is, the wood is floating in water. And if the water they drink all of the water out of the tank to where there's no water in the tank and the thing just sits down on the plastic, then yeah, you could have a problem. But I can't let the water tanks get empty. I can't just say, well, I'm not going to fill water tanks when they're empty. Like, I can't do that. They have to have water in them. So if they have water in them, that water is going to soak into the wood. That wood's going to become saturated with water. When it gets cold, it's going to freeze. And those wooden frames are going to be half made out of wood and half made out of ice. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever tried a trick with a balloon where fill a balloon full of water, right? And then blow up a balloon with air and hold a lighter to it and it pops the balloon, of course. Fill a balloon full of water and hold a lighter to it and it doesn't break. Why? Because the water is taking away all that heat from the flame. So on the same principle, the water in the wood is taking away the heat so that the wood is not catching on fire. So of course, so this is one of those things where like, this is a, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. Like, I don't recommend running really long extension cords for these things. It says not to do that. It'd be great if you had a GFI outlet, installed by an electrician up to code right next to all your water tanks, but who can afford that? And, should you modify a heater that's meant for metal tanks to make it for plastic tanks? No, you shouldn't do that. Should you use wood against heating element? No, shouldn't do that. But when you have to solve a problem, you have to solve a problem, and that's what I came up with. And so far it's working. But it's interesting that this one is this one is having more trouble being liquid than the one. So these guys up here, they're fine. Their tank is like 2/3 liquid probably. And so there could be some product variability. It could be because I have an extra bit of, I ran the extension cable to their tank and then I ran another shorter cable down to this tank. It could be that that one's drawing most of the amps and this one's getting starved. I don't know, but it's good enough. It's good enough. The animals can get through that and I can come and bust it up and they can get a drink. That's the important thing, is they're not going to dehydrate. So problem solved for now. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that this is a example of what my life is like a lot. It's like, oh no, this here is going wrong, or this is happening. There's a storm, or there's this, or there's that, and what are we going to do? And then I got to figure out something and try to make something work, and then come out and get it set up and test it and modify it or go to plan B or whatever. That's what it's like, which is great. I mean, it's good. It's good for my personality and that's what I'm good at, but anyway, that's what it's like a lot of the time. And then today, I think we're going to be scrutinizing some of these girls and making sure that trying to figure out how close they are to having babies. Because we'll have to get them in the barn. I mean, if the lamb is laying on this is essentially like a little bit of snow with kind of an icy crust on top of it. And a lamb laying on that's not going to survive very long. So I think I'm going to be into the kind of every few hours checking. Yeah, that's what lambing is like. Waiting and watching and checking and waiting and watching and checking and waiting and watching and checking. And then responding when it finally does happen. Anyway, I got to go check on remote groups and make breakfast and see how the family is doing. This is a especially challenging week with the cold out here. This is one access to our forest area. I've had some good luck out in that section of our woods finding locust trees that are down but are still really good wood for firewood and cutting them up. And I haven't even had time to split it. I'm literally just throwing roundwood logs into the fire, which makes it takes more tending to be able to run the fire that way, but they do burn for a long, long time. They make really good coals. Yeah, I just because I'm so behind on firewood, I've just been going out once or twice a week out that way and cutting a pickup truckload full of logs, bringing them back and chucking them in the furnace. And we do have a heat pump, but I think it's having issues. I don't think it's working right now. I tried to switch over to it for convenience, but then it started kind of messing up, and I'm like, oh, now I'm going to have to fix the heat pump. But thank goodness we have a wood-fired boiler. That's what we usually use. It provides all our heat and hot water. But now I'm not sure. It's been nice to have that as the main thing and the heat pump as a backup option in the winter. Right now, our backup option is questionable. So, all right. I think this is working. Apologies. My phone battery died when I was out there yammering on. So I figured I'd just come back to the truck and plug my phone in and do another bonus live stream or something. But it looks like maybe this just continues on. I don't know what happens when you're making a live stream on YouTube and then your battery runs out on your camera. I guess I'm finding out. So maybe this is a part B or a continuation. I'm not sure. We'll see. It may be that if you're on the live, you're watching live, then you're lucky, because I don't know if it's going to save for later today. But I'll just have to keep it plugged in here in the truck and stay on top of the battery to make sure that's good connection there. So, yeah, I was just yammering on about having to fix stuff, having to be the main hillbilly engineer. But that's, of course, my job. I mean, what am I talking about? Why would I complain about that? It's my job. Let's see. So it'll be kind of interesting to see, like, normally here in North Carolina, if we get any snow, we get a snowstorm and then it sticks around for a little bit, and then in a couple days it's 65 degrees and it all melts. But now it's going to be really cold for several days. It's going to take a while for this to melt, I suspect. I don't really know. Man, that's got to be bright. That's bright for me, but it's bright for you. So presumably this is going to stick around for a while. And it's probably going to turn into an ice rink out here. And it's not emergency yet, but I got it. This week I really do need to go to the feed mill. Get more feed. I hope I'm able to do that. I haven't tried to go down the mountain yet, so I only know a little stretch of road between our place, and we got 2 remote groups, grazing groups, and I know a little bit of that's all I know the conditions where it's like up here. On our road, they obviously didn't plow or put anything down, so we just got snow. This is where they actually scraped. So it's a little more clear. It's very beautiful. I tell you what, I thought with these morning live streams, like, oh, well, maybe I'll have some profound thoughts in the morning to share, some big ideas, or some, I'll be able to pontificate about why we're doing this, and to be honest, I feel like a lot of the time my mind is just like, okay, well, what do I need to take care of now? What do I need to take care of now? What's the next task? What could go wrong? How do I fix this? How do I fix that? And so I feel like it's probably boring to listen to because I don't have any big mega solutions to anything. I probably would have to have a sit down and specifically think out like what I would want to talk about for that. As challenging as all this is, I mean, I have to go out in the middle of the night in bad conditions, all this kind of stuff. You know what though, like, and I know a lot of people will be like, "That's horrible. I wouldn't want to do that," and that's fine. I'm not dissing you. I just there are so many times in peculiar situations that where something really unpleasant is happening or whatever, but I'm just like, man, I was made for this. How did I not find out about you could live this way? Well, I guess it remains to be determined if you can actually live this way. Our success is by no means guaranteed, but like, I'm so glad I'm trying this. I feel like this is so cool. It's like tapping into all different parts of me to try to figure out how to do all this, and it's exciting. It's a little bit like the feeling I had, it seemed like a million years ago, when I first went to Thailand. I dropped out of grad school and I went to Thailand, and I was living on this little farm, and I just felt like I was learning at warp speed. I was jumping out of bed every day like, oh, what's going to happen today, what's going to happen today? And I'd never had that before. I used to have a lot of trouble getting out of bed in the morning, just because I was kind of like, well, what is my life all about, and what am I doing, and all this kind of stuff. I was kind of bummed. But it's different now. It's different, and so it was exciting to go to Thailand and have that experience. Be excited to wake up. So I'm trying to decide if I have enough. What I might do is I might wrap this real quick. Go and look at these guys. I put some more hay out here for them to make bedding with. Last night I came out about, I don't know, 9:30 or something. Because I'm probably gonna run out of battery again. So what I'm gonna try to do is jump out, show the scene here a little bit, and then wrap. And then we'll check in tomorrow. So my battery dies when I unplug it. And you might have the pleasure of watching me wipe out on this icy, slippery ground. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Okay, let's check here. Look at this. Look at this. All right. We got some liquid there that they can access. That's cool. Happy to see that. So now you can see my contraption where I built a little wooden frame around the heater. So that is pretty much working as I hoped. Very cool. Very cool. These guys look good. Possibly some pregnant girls here, although to me, nobody looks so far along as back home. Although the ram Mo there, that's the ram. Of course, he's smaller than Abe, so the babies tend to be smaller too. All right. The fence is holding up better than I'd hoped, because the ice really weighs it down. Let's see. Let's look at our charger. Charger's flashing green. That's good. Stop flashing red. I'd like to see that. I'm really pushing it here, probably with the battery. Anyway, I'm gonna give them a little treat. Come on, y'all. They still got some hay to work on here. Good to see that. Let's go ahead and put it right on top. And so here they are. Yeah, the ones that are Shetland or have Shetland in them, they're probably like, oh yeah, I don't mind this cold. And the Katahdins are like, we can handle it. Not too bad. The crosses here. There's I think there's one pure Katahdin here, and then the rest are crosses, and there's one pure Shetland. That's him right there, Champarato. He's a pure. His dad is over there, the horns, and his mom is a Shetland. And of course, that's Finnegan. The Nigerian goat is probably like, what am I doing here, man? Why am I here? But he hangs in there. He's fine. All right, cool. Everything is more or less okay, which I'm glad to see. I heard those coyotes last night. I was just like, oh man. Like, am I even going to be able to sleep thinking about this? So I'm gonna give them a little more on the trailer, and then call it good for now. Oh man! Oh. You can see where I bedded them out. That probably made them feel a little better. Look at it. This is like bedding, man. This is like a Sleep Number mattress in here. That probably felt good to have that, didn't it, y'all? Yeah. Okay. Why don't you go up there? Go up there and get you some snacks. Go ahead. Go ahead. There they go. All right. Go ahead, Mo. Don't be shy. All right. Probably a good time to sign off. Thank you for watching the live stream. Wish us luck. It's a challenging week. Say a prayer for us, and catch us every morning for coffee. JK out.